Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Female Divines Co-Creating Our Future. Today, I have the honor and privilege of having a dear friend and colleague, AnneLisa Vallery. Oh my goodness, thank you for coming.
Yes, it is such an honor to be here. I'm so excited.
Let me share a little bit about what AnneLisa does. Her purpose here on this earth has been and is working with teens, youth as an advocate. She is a keynote speaker, a best selling author, an intuitive energy healer, and a holistic wellness coach. Through her service as a CASA, a court appointed special advocate for children, and teens in Los Angeles, I always say Los Angeles, I just
It's all
county
good.
foster care system, her relationships with her elders and her own healing journey has inspired AnneLisa to serve BIPOC teens and youth on a larger scale and be a bridge for intergenerational connections. Through Causing Legacy Incorporated, she facilitates workshops that honors the elder wisdom and contributes to teens and youth by providing them tools and resources to heal. She provides guidance to navigate their inner journey and support them to discover where they are in the world. AnneLisa has been featured in the Turning Season podcast, where she shares how causing legacy is part of the turning season. Thank you so much, AnneLisa. Wow, intergenerational work. That's why I had to have you on, because I speak about intergenerational trauma, and the work and the healing that you do is exactly what we need to put our focus on. So tell me about how you were able to get to this place where you knew, okay, intergenerational work is really where I want to be.
Yeah, well, here for me, it really came from my experience growing up with three generations under one household and having the experience of my friends talking about their grandmothers being, spoiling them and just being like just life-size teddy bears. My grandmother was not that. And I was like, why? And my grandmother and I, we butt heads for a lot of the time that she was alive. Um, I didn't, I didn't see what she saw, and I
Mhm.
didn't like her way of executing what may have started out as a good intention. And so that really led to it was great in some senses, and in others I was just resentful.
Mm.
And so that, coupled with, coming from a household of domestic abuse and navigating the world, being raised with my Trinidadian family, it was
Mm.
just different. There were so many intersections that I found myself at that I now have words for, but I had no words for as a kid. In
Mm.
addition to being intuitive and empathic. So all of those, getting to a point that I really saw the cycles of my life like repeating itself. For example, a car accident, same time every year. What's like for 5 years in a row?
Oh my goodness.
Getting
What?
getting sick, same time every year, from stress, anxiety, and just like not having support, not feeling supported, not having anyone that I could actually talk to until I was just like bursting at the seams. And so at some point, I was like, I am done with this cycle. I'm done with these cycles. I don't know what I got to do, what I got to look at. Like, let me just figure it, like really just peel back the layers. And so I've been able to complete those cycles in my own life. And then I also started looking back at the familial cycles, right? The intergenerational cycles. And I was like, oh, yeah, those shenanigans, they stop with me.
Hmm. That must
Because,
make, I'm sorry,
no, go
that must
ahead.
make you just like such a profound and engaged facilitator for the youth because they're going through it. They're realizing it, right? They're coming into the world, their own identity, like who am I in this world? And like you said, you didn't even have words for the intersection, the culture, being multiracial, like all these different, all of this converging, right? And so how has that work been with the youth? I mean, tell me about that. They're just our treasures. So
They are. And it was interesting because I wanted to, like 10 years ago is when I like really was like, oh, I really want to work with youth. But what I was also present to was, ooh, I don't actually have the capacity to not be biased about what's happening in your life as though it's yours and not mine. I was like, okay, so we got some work to do. And then I moved from Philadelphia to LA. And while I was here, I really started to dive deep into my inner healing work. And still with that, that seed is still there. Like I want to serve the youth. I want to be able to share, but I didn't really have it. And I didn't really have the capacity to do so. Um,
I want to stop you right there. I just want to acknowledge you for even knowing you didn't have the capacity. Because I sometimes, unfortunately, we tend to see people in those spaces with youth and they're not really holding space, or we tend to find them in these encounters where you can tell they are leading with what they want and they're not really listening and providing space and truly asking the youth what they want. So thank you for just even saying that, because so many leaders in that space, we need a regular self-reflection, self-awareness, because we get tired as well. But I just had to say that
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And
so
that's what I
profound.
learned through being a CASA, because I was a CASA for 4.5 years. And I worked with youth one-on-one, but I love their interview process because it's a 2-year volunteer commitment that you create with them where you're serving, you're volunteering, and you're working with one kid, teen, youth, but one person, that's moving through the foster care system. And it was, so I can laugh now at this experience, but I was not laughing then. She asked me a question. The interviewer asked me a question about like, how would you, it was almost something to the sound of like, how would you guide a teen or youth that is experiencing like, um having a tumultuous experience at home? How would you guide them and support them as a CASA? And I was like, and I don't remember what my answer was, not a clue. But at the same time that I'm giving her the answer, like I would guide them and share with them multiple perspectives, I would also give them tools to be able to support themselves in those moments. And it was funny because something I like had a total aha moment about my own experience. Like in high school, when I graduated, I, and this is part of the story that I share in the book, Lineage Speaks. Like, so when
Oh,
I graduated, yes, that's the book. My grandmother, she was so upset. And what she said was, I'm not proud of you. Like she just kept repeating that. And I was like, what do you mean? But on the other side of that, I was upset with my mother for not advocating for me in the way that I wanted her to. And in the interview that I was having with the CASA, at least like 10 plus years later, um, that was probably like 15 years. 15 years later, what I got was I wanted my mom to advocate for me by speaking up on my behalf. I was like, but what I didn't see is that she advocated for me in the way that she knew how, which was, AnneLisa, go hang out with your friends, go celebrate. I got this. To this day, I have no clue what happened in that household and the conversations between my mom and my grandparents. I know my grandmother, she probably went on for quite a bit more in whatever she was sharing. But my mom took that on my
Mm,
behalf so that I did not have to receive that while trying to celebrate.
absolutely. And I want to also just say, CASA is court appointed special advocate, just to
Yes.
remind people again. So then here you are interviewing for this role, and you're basically doing the same thing for them because you're advocating when they're not around either. So they don't really know how how much you're going for bat for them, right? I mean, except the energy,
Yeah.
because the youth feel they're still so emotionally in tuned, and they can they don't need words. They can like walk in a room and feel everything and know almost what's happening. So I just wanted to, yeah, say that that's a profound and a parallel.
Yeah. And after working with, I would say the first teen girl I worked with, like I poured like all of the tools because it was my first one. I was super excited. There was like an instant like connection, openness, and being able to create. And it was like amazing. And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to give her all the tools. It may be a little overwhelmed, but I'm going to give her everything that I wish I had. That's just what we're going to do. And so I spent about a year with her, a year advocating for her before she no longer wanted the CASA relationship for whatever reason. And so and I was like, I remember just being like, oh my gosh, did I do anything? Like, what did she take from me? Like, did she take anything? Did anything stick? I literally threw everything against the wall and was like, okay, whatever sticks is great. And as a CASA, when the teen or youth chooses to end that relationship, our duty is not to reach out. They are more
Yeah.
than welcome to reach out to us, but we are not to reach out. And so, all right. But it was like heart-wrenching because I was like, oh, I just want to know like she's well. I want to know she's doing well. I want to know that like she's really making good decisions on her behalf. And I was like, oh, spirit, I don't really know. Like, did I do anything? Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. It was like 2 months later. I was preparing for my first trip to Colombia, South America, to spend some time with one of my indigenous teachers. And the Friday before I left, I got a text from her. And all it said was, hey, miss, I still say my affirmations, and I still love you.
Oh, I love that. So, oh,
I bawled. I was a puddle of tears. I was like, okay, so something stuck. I was like, so I know she's always grounded in who she is because she created her affirmations. I
hmm,
was like, and that's it. That's all I wanted her to get.
that's so beautiful. As a holistic wellness coach, um, how is it with the youth when you're immersing them, right? Like in a tool. Tell me about that. Because, I mean, of course, it depends on the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to hear your experience because I know that there's a lot of coaches out there that really want to work with youth. And usually it's more of a like a mental therapy type, it begins like that. But for those who are on the holistic and wellness part, like what is one thing that you do with the youth?
One thing that I do with the youth is I introduce them to sound baths or sound healing. And so that has been a divine experience. And even so, we work with teens and we work with youth. So youth like 18 to 20. And I thought I've connected with another nonprofit organization based up here in the Antelope Valley in California, for anybody who's not here. Um, and it was funny because during that, we shared a booth together. So Causing Legacy had a booth, and New Colors Project had a booth. And a lot of their team is in that like transitional aged youth. So like 18 to 21, 18 to 20. And I thought it was hilarious because I brought the bowls and they were like, okay, so we've known one, but you have seven. And I just started playing and I'm talking with them. Now, people are coming by and I'm communicating with those who are, customers or potential clients who are coming to the booth, but I'm spending more time like talking and educating and talking about the different things with the youth of the other nonprofits team. And there was one teen in particular. He was like, I don't like this. I was like, that's okay. I love you anyways. And he was like, what is happening? Like, it's so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, good. I'm not worried about you. I was like, you're fine. And I love you anyways. And so as I'm sharing with the others who are interested, like, okay, AnneLisa, I feel it like here in my body, or I feel it. So feeling it in their solar plexus, feeling it in like their heart chakra, or like feeling it kind of like in the ear area. They're like, what? And I was like, this is energy movement. This is what sound does. It's just moving and clearing energy. And he's like, oh, stop it. I don't like this. I fell out laughing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm still not worried about you. I love you anyway.
I just
And
love that because it's one thing in science class to read, oh yeah, atoms are made out of energy. And then you realize, okay, well, I'm a bunch of atoms, so I'm actually energy, but you don't experience it. And with the sound bath, it allows us to feel the real vibration that we are. I mean,
yes.
that, right? Because I mean, like speaking, it's a vibration, right? And we're a vibration, and the sound bath allows us to experience it. So they're probably not even, I love that, like they're feeling it all these other
But it
places,
was
but
so fun. It was so funny because at the end of it, so we spent about 4 hours together, maybe even 6. By the end of it, he was like, okay. He's like, I like it. I was like, I thought you would. I was like, and I love you anyway. And it was just so beautiful because his mood totally shifted. We've been doing a workshop with 16 girls, and one girl in particular, she was like, can we do this every week? And I was like, absolutely. I was like, we're together for 90 minutes. We can take 15 to 20 and just do a sound bath if that's what you would like. She's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay.
I love that. I love it. So, how can we seasoned people on earth enjoy a sound bath? Because I love sound baths as well. So, but I'm not in your area.
All good, all good. So for those in the area, well, I say for those in the area, but I do travel, so I'm totally open to collaborating or coming in for a private event. That's always amazing. You can reach out to me either on my Instagram. That's usually where I am. So it's at AnneLisaVallery.com, and I'm sure a link will be posted somewhere in
Yes.
this. So at AnneLisa, at Annalisa, I said AnneLisa.com. So it's at AnneLisa Vallery is my Instagram and all of my social media handles for private baths. And we're also offering, I have a group coaching course coming up. So in
Ooh.
the details will be coming more next month, and it is called Engage Your Inner Sage. Because
Oh, I love
for
that.
me, I really discovered that the key to our wellness is tuning into the wisdom within.
Mm, let that sit.
Mm.
Say that again for everyone, please, because we need to just sit and receive that.
Absolutely. The key to your wellness is tuning in to the wisdom within.
Mm. Mm. That is so
Mm.
profound. It just, even with the work that I do and with, my book, Step, Step, Jump, and it's called Transforming Trauma to Triumph in the 46th Floor, all of my foundational work is about a paradigm shift
Yes.
for everyone who's experiencing a traumatic event or a life altering event, and looking at it not just as the problem, not just as the thing to overcome, but actually to sit with everything that it gives you, and it's
Mm.
painful and you're suffering and it's not
That's part of the experience.
it's not, it's the spiritual growth never comes like all smooth like a facial. No.
Like a spa day? It's You mean to tell me it's not like just the most relaxing massage?
Exactly. The paradigm shift is really having people finally understand that that traumatic event is giving you this wisdom through this lived experience that you would not be able to know, not learn about, not read about and think you know. No, true knowing comes from lived experience, and that lived experience gives you this wisdom now, and now you can share it with the world. Now this is your wisdom. This is your like funds of knowledge, and so I so love that. So I know everyone will be so excited to attend your group class. That sounds phenomenal. And where can everyone get this? This is
Oh.
just beautiful. Can I tell you, I love your book cover. I
Mhm.
love your book cover. Look at the moon and the
Mhm.
sisters are. So tell me, oh yeah, where can everyone get your book?
So if you just search Lineage Speaks or AnneLisa Vallery on Amazon.com, the book is available in both Kindle version and hard copy. And we've also recently launched a podcast. So anywhere you see or anywhere that you listen to your podcast, you can just search Lineage Speaks.
I
We
love
are there.
that. I love it. Ooh. Okay, and one last closing question. So,
Yes.
if there was one thing that society could change to center women and children, what would you want that to be?
Two things: more women in leadership, like every industry, every from top to bottom, all women everywhere in leadership, and more money in women's hands.
Hmm.
I have a mentor that talks about, she was like, when more money is in women's hands, we care for families and communities because that is how we think. That's just who we are. And I was like,
I love that.
that
I
makes
love
all the
that.
difference.
Yeah, when good people do better, everyone does better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, AnneLisa. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll post all the ways that people can get a hold of you and join your group class. And
Yeah.
yes, so excited for us to co-create our future together.
So excited. Thank you, Annabelle. It
You're
was an
welcome.
honor to be here today.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too.